Hey, welcome back to Seen, Known, Paid. I'm your host, Marina Gerges, and we've been on a bit of a break. But because of that and all the exciting things happening in my personal life, we decided to put together some of our favorite bits from our past episodes so that you can continue learning and building your true to self, authentic personal brand. And here is one of our favorite bits from one of our past episodes. So tune in.
So the actual call to action and the sales pitch was in the high value content I was sharing in those videos. And it led to over 6 figures in sales in just 4 months.
I feel like that's what most people miss with, for example, building your brand. It's about the brand ambassadors, your community members that share your message, engage with you, and even refer you out, even if they don't buy themselves. And people miss the power of that. They think that every single person who interacts with their social media content automatically a buyer, or that the purpose of every piece of content is to sell. And eventually, yes, but that's not the intention behind every piece of content.
Do not be scared to give it all away for free. There is a massive misconception that when you do that, you will not convert.
Could you tell us a little bit about conversion in social media?
Conversion to me means two things. Of course, there's the monetary side of conversion, which leads directly to the bottom line of your business, but there's also conversion in terms of your community, as well as conversion in terms of growth in that community and followers, subscribers, whatever it is that you're looking to achieve. So the monetary, yes, important, but you cannot get that without the conversion of a community and people really believing in your message and essentially becoming super fans of yours who share your content for you and are turning that conversion wheel for you. We just literally need to show up as ourselves. And we certainly do not need to be posting to the feed as much as these gurus are telling us we need to be posting to the feed. So the initial stages of me not posting to the feed, this was like an experiment, of course, because I wanted to see, would I still be able to grow? Would I still be able to connect on the same level? And then most importantly, would I be able to convert at the same capacity that I was converting when posting to the feed every day? I put a post on my feed communicating to go and watch my stories. And then every day for the next little while in my stories, I would say, come here if you want new content. So it became a redirect, which is a strategy that I use in all of my content of redirecting people to where you want them to go and what you want them to focus on. So it's less a matter of where you're posting, but how you're using those features and really understanding who is the audience on this platform and who is the audience in this particular feature. And when it comes to Instagram in general, the audience is people who are already following you. You are posting for a familiar audience. Even on feed, only a small percentage of your posts get shown to people who are not following you. And I don't care what Instagram tells you, because they do tell you all the time, we really support creators, you can go viral. And yes, you absolutely can go viral, but it doesn't happen on a consistent basis like it does on a space like TikTok, for example. So this was my first experiment, if you will, with audiences and attention. So I started to do that. And I started to talk about a method that came to me about this time last year in the summer of 2022. It all just clicked for me that my little experiment with not posting to the feed and just posting to stories and really navigating social spaces different based off of the audience in those spaces was an entire concept and method that I thought more business owners needed to know about. And that concept is called the Instasite.
You didn't stop there because something didn't work for you. You kept exploring what could work for you, what could work for my voice, for my lifestyle, for my current situation. And I think there's something to be said about you, the person who's creating the content, need to feel good about what you're creating. Because if it doesn't match how you communicate, which I have another episode on, like, your natural communication style and how that's how you create authentic content, because authentic content feels like this like mystery that we're all trying to achieve, but it's really just about creating stuff that resonate with your natural way of communicating. I wanted to ask you about some of the success you've seen on TikTok, because people who are listening, they're like, okay, cool, I'll create the content, and then what? I'll be stuck on these like 200 views. Like, no one needs to see another TikTok profile on this topic. And I'm sure you've had these thoughts, but you kept going, and you had mentioned that unique strategy, the Instasite, and you shared it with people. So I want to hear a little bit about what you've seen happen from being consistent with your routine on TikTok.
Yeah. So while I was filming those TikToks in the car, it took a little bit to get that traction over on TikTok. And there were definitely days where I was just like, this isn't working still. And I felt like I had the imposter syndrome, and I was like, I suck. I can't do this. Like, who cares? There's, Instagram, social media experts, mostly gurus, are a dime a dozen. Like, they're everywhere, right? So I did have those thoughts, but I just kept going. And it was, I think, the 10th or like the 15th video I had posted about the Instasite strategy, because I just kept talking about it. And I'll tell you why at some point in this story that it started to get traction. So what I did was I made sure that at the very least, the Instasite step-by-step guide, which you and I co-created together. So Marina did all of the templates for the guide, and I did the strategy. That was linked in the bio, because every single piece of content that I was speaking to, all 15 of those videos, directly related to that guide. So these videos start to go viral, and I really want to make an important note here, and this has to do with conversion. When I had made those videos, it was a two-parter. Part 1, part 2, 2022 social media strategy is what it was called. I thought I made a huge boo-boo by not adding the call to action at the end of the video saying, get the step-by-step guide in my bio. I was like kicking myself, being like, you just missed a huge opportunity to tell people about this guide. Well, that quote unquote boo-boo actually changed my life, and it changed the way I think about converting in a non-direct way. So the actual call to action and the sales pitch was in the high value content I was sharing in those videos, and it led to over 6 figures in sales in just 4 months. And again, as I said earlier, you can go viral, you can get visibility. It's just not on a consistent basis. So focus on creating content that is really good at connection and conversion. Okay. Now, over on TikTok, as well as YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn, your blogs, these are spaces for mass visibility and growth. So that is a little bit more top of the funnel. People aren't as familiar with you, right? They might not be familiar with you at all. So every single time you post to TikTok, about 85 to 90% of the people who are seeing your content are people who are not following you. That is huge compared to the maybe 1 to 5% of people that see your content over on Instagram. So why would you then not create and go and use those creation resources for a space that rewards the visibility? And that's what the big difference is.
I want to wrap it up with maybe some like hot conversion tips?
Okay, the biggest game changer on TikTok will be adding what I call relevance to your content. The more relevant you make anything, the easier it is for people to use and the more they will want to consume and then convert. That's kind of like the roadmap. Even when you think about the functionality of apps and things that you're using, if it is not easy to use and understand, you're out of there. Okay. So you can add relevance to your TikToks in a few different ways, either by adding the year, adding the season, or infusing your industry or niche. So an example of this is a title card on your TikTok. If you're doing a talking head, in the caption, in the closed captions, you're going to have the text 2023, whatever the topic is. You're infusing relevance there with the year or whatever year it is. Okay. With the season, you can add something like 6 holiday recipes in 2023. Now you are doing year and season in there. And then in terms of the niche in the audience and the industry, to add relevance there, you would say 2023 back to school outfits for kids. So now you've got the year, the season, and the audience in there. All right. And I mean, it's not kids that are going to be watching those videos, but the parents are searching for these terms because the relevance is searchable terms. TikTok's SEO is incredibly powerful. And when you think about this example, if I'm searching social media strategy, for example, in the search bar on TikTok, and one video pops up and the title card says social media strategy, the other one says 2023 social media strategy, which one are you clicking on? 23 social media strategy because it's relevant right now. On top of that, you're making it really easy for the algorithms to categorize your content and to bump it up because now TikTok is saying, oh, well, this relates to what's happening right now. I'm going to put it up top of the search as opposed to something that just is a little bit more vague. So get specific, get relevant, and you're going to change the visibility as well as your conversion too, because you're laying it out there for your audience. Like, this is what we're freaking talking about here, people. Let's get into it. And again, lay it out on the table. Like, that is my number one tip. Do not be scared to give it all away for free. There is a massive misconception that when you do that, you will not convert. But I hate to break it to you, people do not need more information. They need execution and accountability. And that execution and accountability comes from when they book a call with you, when they decide to work one-on-one with you, when they download a DIY guide, whatever it is that you're putting out there. The gatekeeping creates friction and resistance. And remember, we want to make it easy for people to consume and use so they can convert.
Brilliant. You amaze me. Every time you speak, Amanda, these are such good tips and they're so actionable. So thank you so much for all the value you added today, all your expertise and your ability to also, be at the forefront of like doing things differently.